हरिओम गुरुजी।
हरिओम
स्वामी जी।
हरिओम।
चलिए, we can start.
हरिओम।
Everyone, please mute yourself, or I will have to mute everybody. Please mute yourself and let's pay attention. Okay?
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च। Humble prostrations to one and all present here. So in the last class, we were discussing about the chariot metaphor. So we are all travelers. We are traveling from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light, from imperfection to perfection. So this journey of ours, from the state of Jivatma to Paramatma, it is beautifully compared with the metaphor of a chariot. Atmanam rathinam vidhi shariram rathamevatu buddhim tu sarathim vidhi manaf pragrahamevacha. So the physical body is a chariot. Horses, indriyani hayanahu vishayansteshu gochara. So there is a path, and the path is a path through the sense objects. The horses, they are the sense organs. The reins, they are the mind. Intellect, that is a charioteer. And we are all the travelers in this chariot. So what is the most important entity in this metaphor? The most important entity is the charioteer. The charioteer must have the knowledge of the goal, must have the knowledge about the horses, must have the knowledge about the route. So the greatest strength of this charioteer is knowledge. In the same way, in life, our greatest strength is going to be right understanding about life. In this world, we have to use our body, mind, intellect. We are in a complex world with complicated instruments. So unless there is right guidance, we are going to mess up our life. Just like that chariot. If the charioteer doesn't have the right knowledge, avijnana sarathi, what will happen? Amanaskaha sada ashuchihi ayukta manasena ayukta manasa. So this is what is going to happen. A person who has no knowledge, as far as the chariot example is concerned, that charioteer will not be able to handle the chariot well. He will not be able to handle the wild horses. So the chariot will never reach the destination. So in the last class, we had seen the reins on one side is connected to the horses. On the other side, it is connected to the charioteer. So the reins will follow whom? The reins will follow whoever is powerful. So if the charioteer is weak, then the reins will follow the horses. If the charioteer is strong, then the reins will follow the charioteer. In the same way, whom will our mind obey? If the sense organs are strong, addicted to all kinds of sense pleasures, and if the intellect is weak, then our mind will follow the sense organs. My voice is not clear? Is the voice clear?
Yes.
It's clear, Swamiji.
Yes,
Absolutely clear.
Swamiji. It's clear.
Now it is clear. Now it is clear. Thank
Now
you.
it is clear. Okay.
It is speaking in
I did
between
not,
today.
I did not do anything. So you have done something. So is the voice clear for everyone?
Yes, yes.
Thank
Very
you.
clear. Very clear.
Somebody's audio is on. That's why the voice breaks in between.
Everyone has to mute.
Yes, now it's.
Hari Om, is the audio clear now? Yes. So, yes. So if our intellect is weak, the mind will obey the sense organs. So therefore, we have no choice but to make our intellect strong. And the strength of the intellect is nothing but the strength of knowledge. And that is why the study of the scriptures is absolutely important. Because right knowledge alone makes the intellect strong. Wrong notions can only make the intellect weak. We gather so many wrong notions from the world, and that can only make us weak. The right understanding makes us strong, and the right understanding, the only source, it is not schools or colleges, it is not the external world. The only source of right understanding is our scriptures. So, therefore, scriptural study is mandatory. It is not an optional thing for a person who wants to live a fulfilling life. Right. So, what happens to a person who has no knowledge about oneself, about the world? What happens to a person whose intellect is weak because the right understanding is not there? So, in such a person's life, you will always find the lower controls the higher. This is what happens. The lower controls the higher. The sense organs are addicted to sense pleasures, and such an addicted sense organs will drag the mind into the world of addictions. So the mind will follow the sense organs. Remember, it is the mind which is higher than the sense organ, which we are going to see now in the following verses. Mind is supposed to control the sense organs, but unfortunately, in such a person's case, sense organs will control the mind. Intellect is supposed to control the mind, but unfortunately, in such a person's case, mind will control the intellect. So everything is going reverse. Horses control the reins, reins control the chariot. Then that is not called, traveling in a chariot. You are being dragged by the chariot into dangerous places by the wild horses. And this is what happens in most of our case. It is all because the charioteer has no strength. It is all because the charioteer is inefficient. So what should happen in the life of a wise person who is endowed with knowledge. In the life of a wise person, the lower readily comes under the discipline of the higher. The lower readily comes under the command of the higher. This is what should happen. So, the sense organs obey the mind obeys the intellect, and the intellect is connected to the Supreme. If this is happening in our life, then everything is fine. So such a personality is called integrated personality. There is an integration. There is a personality integration. This is called as integration. Lower readily coming under the control of the higher. Such a person will have absolutely no problem in life, because the intellect connected to the higher is very clear about what is right and what is wrong, what to do and what not to do, what is vidhi, what is nishedha, do's and don'ts. Everything is clear in that bright intellect. That intellect will be very bright also. Brightness of the intellect is like brightness of the torch. Very clearly everything is seen. Just like in the presence of light, everything becomes very clear. In the same way, in the presence of a brilliant intellect, everything becomes clear. And therefore, decision making is never a problem. All decision making problem comes because intellect is not clear as to what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is beneficial, what is dangerous. So that clarity comes with knowledge. So once the intellect is very clear about what is right and wrong, what to do and what not to do, the intellect's wise decisions, guidance is readily followed by the mind. In such a person's case, mind doesn't come up with its own likes and dislikes. The mind says, whatever you say, oh intellect, whatever is right, I love doing it. Because I know that my welfare and well-being is just in obeying your commandment. Mind knows it. So therefore, mind starts liking whatever the intellect says right. That is called as integration. There is no tug of war between mind and intellect. Mind readily obeys the wise guidance of the intellect. And now what does the mind do? Mind is the one which has to initiate actions at the sense organs level. And what is the status of the sense organs? Sense organs readily obey the mind. So these sense organs, now in this world, there are good things, there are bad things. Everything is there. This world is a mix of good and bad. So mind getting the guidance from the intellect, it takes the sense organs only to good things, beneficial things, that which helps us spiritually evolve, that which doesn't pollute the mind, that will only help the mind grow. Only to such places, to such things, beings, situations, the mind will expose the sense organs, and thus the sense organs, they perceive only good things, noble things, divine things, sacred things, beneficial things. And therefore, the entire chariot is safe. Right? And such a person with such a disciplined life attains the highest. So now, in the last verse, it was said, Vijnana Saratihi Manaf Pragrahavan Sachanara Saha Adhvanaf Param Apnoti. Verse number 9. He reaches the end of the road. He reaches the destination. Who? Vijnana Sarathi, the one who is endowed with knowledge. And that end of the destination, what is it? Tat Vishnoho Paramam Padam. That is the highest abode of Vishnu. That is what is called as Vaikuntha, the highest abode of Vishnu. Now, In the Puranas, etc., we have heard the story that Vishnu stays in Vaikuntha and Vaikuntha is somewhere far away and we all go. So it is said that a person who is a devotee is taken by Vishnu Parshadas, the attendants of Vishnu, in a Vimana. So that Vimana comes, lands, and that particular devotee, he boards that Vimana, that vehicle, and then he is taken to that Vishnu Loka. And in that Vishnu Loka is a beautiful world and there is a description. All those things are there. But in Vedanta, there is no such world. What is this Vishnu Padam? So that is mentioned in the next two verses. And interestingly, you will find the whole journey is not somewhere out, the whole journey is inward. So Vishnu Padam actually is nothing but the Supreme Self, the consciousness in us. This is very clearly mentioned in the next two verses. So let us chant verse number 10, page number 165. Indriyebhyah parahyarthaah अर्थेभ्यश्च परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः बुद्धेरात्मा महान् परः. We'll chant the 11th one also, page number 170. महतः परमव्यक्तम् अव्यक्तात् पुरुषः परः पुरुषान्न परं किञ्चित् सा काष्ठा सा paragatihi. So from the lower to the higher and to the highest. So we are going towards Vishnu Padam now, for the grossest to the subtlest. So first step, Indriyebhyah para hi arthaha. Compared to artha, sense objects, Indriyas are superior. So now, before we discuss this, the ladder of superiority, before we discuss this, we must understand, according to Vedanta, how is it decided? What is superior to what? In Vedanta, how is this definition made? So this understanding has to be there. So now, there are 5 aspects based on which we decide which is superior. So what are the 5 aspects? Aspect number 1, Sukshmatvat. Sukshma means subtle, based on subtlety. So anything which is subtle is superior. Anything which is gross is inferior. To give an example, thoughts are subtle, action is gross, so therefore thoughts are superior to actions. This way. So factor number 1, Sukshmatvat, based on subtlety. Anything which is subtle is superior to gross. Subtle means Sukshma, gross means Thula. These are the Sanskrit terms. Sukshma is always superior to Sthula. Factor number 2, Mahatva. Mahan means great, of greater importance. Anything which is of greater importance definitely has to be superior to that which is of lesser importance. Put in another words, Mahan also means pervading. Anything which pervades a thing is superior to that thing. For example, mud pervades pot, so therefore mud is superior to pot. That which pervades is superior to that which is pervaded. Mahan. So Mahatvat. This is the second factor. Third factor, Pratyagatmatvat. Pratyagatma means inner self. that which is interior is superior to that which is exterior. The inner is always higher than outer. The inner is always higher than the outer. Right? Pratyakatmatvat. Fourth one, Karanatvat. Karana means cause. That which is the cause is always higher than the effect. Karana is always higher than Karya. So, mud, which is a cause of pot, is always higher than pot. The 5 elements, which is a cause of the body, is higher than the body. Like this. So, Karanatvat. Fifth one, Niyamakatvat. Niyamaka means controller. So, that which controls is always higher than that which is controlled. Controller is higher than the controlled. So, master is higher than the servant. So, we have 5 aspects based on which we decide what is superior, what is inferior. The first one, based on subtlety, sukshmatvat. Second one, based on pervasiveness. Third one, based on what is inner, what is outer, pratyagatmatvat. Fourth one, karanatvat, based on what is the cause. Fifth one, based on who controls whom, niyamakatva. So based on these 5 factors, now we are going to take up the discussion. So the first one, indriyebhyah parahi artha. Compared to the sense objects, indriyebhyah, compared to the sense organs, sense objects are higher. Now, this can be a very controversial statement because sense objects are outside, sense organs are inside. So, which should be higher? Anything which is inner should be higher than the outer. Whereas here, the statement says sense objects are higher than the sense organs. Actually, what should be higher? Sense organ should be higher because that is more inner to me, more nearer to me, isn't it? So this statement is a very controversial statement in Kathopanishad. A similar verse comes in Bhagavad Gita. There is no problem. Indriyani parani. That's how it starts. Sense organs are higher. Higher to what? It is not mentioned there. So there, Bhagavan Shankaracharya said, sense organs are higher to the body. That is absolutely fine. But here, this statement is quite confusing. How can sense organs be higher than the sense objects? So here we have to understand this. Definitely, yes, sense objects are inferior, sense organs are higher. But in this context, sense objects means those sense objects which have created an impression in the mind. So we are not talking of the external sense object. We are talking of that sense object which is an impression in the mind. To give an example, suppose there is a flower. You look at that flower for 5 minutes, keep on staring at it, and then close your eyes. What will you see? In the mind, you will see an image of this flower, isn't it? That image is the sense object mentioned here. So, image in the mind, which has been created, that impression in the mind which has been created after having exposed to the sense object. So here, artha doesn't mean the external sense object. Here, artha means that sense object which has been impressed upon the mind due to the sense exposure. Then now we don't have any problem. So naturally, the impression in the mind, it is closer to us compared to the sense organs. Yes or no? Yes. This is the way we have to analyze this statement. Everything should make logical sense, right? So now, this impression which is in the mind, it is higher than the sense organs. Sense organs are like gatekeepers. This impression is like a visitor. So who is higher, the gatekeeper or the visitor? The visitor is always higher. Gatekeeper remains at the gate, visitor enters in. So this sense object which has entered into the mind is always higher. Now you have to apply these 5 things. Sukshmatvat, which is subtler, sense organ is subtler, or this mental impression is subtler. Mental impression is subtler. Mahatvat, it is more pervasive, it is more important. Pratyatmatvat, it is more inner. Niyamakatvat. So what kind of what is going to get impressed in the mind is decided by the sense object and not by the sense organ. Niyamakatva. So in this way, we have to analyze. All the 5 may not be applicable everywhere, but even if one is applicable, then that has to be taken. Because all the 5 have to go together. There should not be any contradiction. It should not happen that something is subtler. So Sukshmatvat, one is superior, but Niyamakatvat, another is inferior. It should not happen that way. All the 5 should go together. In some places, all the 5 may not be applicable. So take whichever is applicable and then apply it and then find out which is superior. So in this case, it's very clear the mental impression of the sense object is higher than the sense organs. Now come to the next one. What is that? Arthebhyascha param manah. Compared to this impression, the likes and dislikes gathered in the mind is higher. See, every impression that is put upon the mind, towards every impression of the sense object, we may not have likes and dislikes. There are so many things which we see, there are so many things which we hear. Everything, being or situation which has created an impression may not create likes and dislikes. But there are certain things which creates likes and dislikes that become even closer to us. Something which I like, that becomes even closer. So that is the meaning, arthebhyascha param manah. That start affecting me more. That is the point. Wherever there is likes and dislikes, that thing, being or situation start entering into my inner space. That start affecting my life. So therefore, arthebhyascha param manah. Manasastu para buddhi. Compared to mind, intellect is higher. Why intellect is higher? Intellect is higher because niyamakatva, the decision making body in my personality is intellect. The signing authority is intellect. The mind may like something and say that I want this. Mind may like it, but whether should I pursue that thing or not, that decision is made by the intellect. The mind can only request the intellect, seeking something, but it is the signing authority, is the intellect. Intellect has to decide whether to go for that thing or not. So intellect is higher because it's a decision-making body. Now, manasastu para buddhihi, buddhehe mahan atma paraha. Compared to this intellect, mahan atma is higher. Now, what is this mahan atma? Now, please don't misunderstand it to be the supreme self. These Sanskrit words are very strange. At different places, the meanings are different. So here, Atma doesn't mean the self. So here, Mahan Atma means Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva means Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means the totality of mind intellect. So Buddhi means the individual intellect. Mahan Atma means the totality. Samashti. Total mind intellect is called Mahan Atma. Another name for Mahan Atma is Mahat Tattva. Another name is Hiranyagarbha. Another name is Sukshma Prapancha. So just like we have a subtle body, there is a subtle cosmos. The subtle body of ours is a part of the subtle cosmos. So the totality of intellect is what is called as Mahanatma. Totality. Totality of Sukshma Sharira. So since our individual intellect is a part of the total intellect, so the total must always be superior to the individual. Because the individual has no existence without the total. It is like the branch of a tree. The branch has no existence without the tree. So therefore, the tree is superior to the branch. Existence of the individual depends on the existence of the total. So therefore, buddhehe paraha mahanatma. Right. Now, what is higher than this mahanatma? Verse number 11. Mahatah param avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest. Now, what is this avyaktam? So, during creation, just before the creation begins, there is an unmanifest state for the whole universe. It is like a seed form. So this is called as pralayavastha, the state of deluge or dissolution. In that pralaya, everything is in its seed form, unmanifest state, latent state. And slowly the creation starts manifesting. So just like that seed, from the seed the sprout comes, and slowly the sprout grows and grows and grows and becomes a tree. In the same way, during Pralaya Avastha, everything goes into an unmanifest state. That unmanifest state is called Avyakta. From this unmanifest state, slowly evolution happens and it becomes Mahattatva or Hiranyagarbha. This Avyakta, another name is called Karana Prapancha. Karana means cause. Everything comes from it. So therefore, it is a cause of the whole universe. So from Avyakta, slowly the creation comes out, manifests and becomes Mahatattva or Hiranyagarbha or Mahanatma according to this verse. And from this Hiranyagarbha or Mahatattva, further evolution happens and then we see this gross world which is called as Sthula Prapancha. So what is the state of evolution? From Karana Prapancha comes Sukshma Prapancha. From Sukshma Prapancha comes Sthula Prapancha. Just like us, from Karana Sharira comes Sukshma Sharira. From Sukshma Sharira comes Sthula Sharira. From the subtle, evolution happens and finally becomes a gross world. From the causal world to the subtle world to the gross world. Just like from seed to the sprout to the tree. So, the first state is Avyakta. From Avyakta comes Hiranyagarbha. From Hiranyagarbha comes this Sthula Prapancha, this physical world which we are seeing. So, since this Hiranyagarbha comes from Avyakta, Avyakta is the cause and Hiranyagarbha is the effect. So what is the rule? Sukshmatvat. So that condition has to be used. Cause always has to be superior to the effect. Parents are always superior, children are always inferior because children come from parents. So Karanatva. Hiranyagarbha comes from Avyakta. So therefore Avyakta has to be superior to Hiranyagarbha. So Mahataf Param Avyaktam. Okay, is there higher, something higher than Avyaktam also? Yes. Avyaktat Purushah Paraha. Even there is, so generally we think that, okay, Avyakta must be the highest. No, higher than Avyakta is Parapurusha. Now, here Parapurusha means the Supreme Self. Why is Supreme Self higher? Supreme Self is higher because it is the one which is giving existence to Avyakta. Parapurusha nothing but pure consciousness. Consciousness is giving existence to the whole creation. Just like the movie screen is giving existence to the movie, or the entire movie is existing upon the screen. Screen is giving existence. In the same way, the whole world is existing where? In consciousness. So therefore, that supporter has to be superior to the supported. So therefore, Paraf Purushaha Avyaktat Purushaha Paraha. Compared to this Avyakta, Purusha is the supreme. So the supreme self is the highest. Purushat na param kinchit. There is nothing higher than this Purusha. Sa kashta. That Purusha is the highest, is a limit. Sa paragatihi. That is the highest goal to be reached, the highest abode. So what is this Vishnu Loka mentioned in the earlier verse? This Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha, etc. is nothing but our own self. A Vishnu Bhakta will say Vaikuntha. A Shiva Bhakta will say Kailasa. Different worlds are mentioned. So people are totally confused. Which world is higher? Should I go to Kailasa or Vaikuntha? All confusions are there. So once you study Vedanta, all confusions are put to an end. There is no external world to be reached, to be traveled. There is only one world, and there is a world of consciousness that is already there in us. Just know yourself, that itself is reaching Vaikuntha, that itself is reaching Kailas, that itself is reaching Brahmaloka. There is no other world. What is the proof? You must say, Shruti is the proof. Upanishad is the proof. Vedas are the proof. Not some Tom, Dick and Harry telling. No, we have the scriptural authority. Shastra Pramanam is there. This is the greatest authority, the authority of the scriptures. Among the scriptures also, Vedas is the highest. Now this we are talking of Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad is from the Vedas. So we say Vedaha Pramanam. Atindriya Vishaye Vedaha Pramanam. That's the statement. Atindriya Vishaye, regarding the topics, the subjects which are atindriya, which cannot be known through the senses, Vedaha Pramanam. Pramanam means a means of knowledge. Vedas are the means of knowledge with regards to things which cannot be known through the senses. So what is the highest world? Highest world is self alone. How do you know? What is the proof? Here is the proof. Very clearly the scriptures mention it. So therefore, whenever people come to you saying that, oh, we have to reach Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha is not the self, we have to go somewhere, Vimana will come, Parshada will come. So you must be very clear. What is ultimate reality? So naturally a question will come, why is it that such stories are present in the Puranas? Why are they misleading the crowd through such stories? The answer is very simple. Vedavyasa Rishi, when he writes Puranas, he will have to take care of everyone. And the ladder of evolution, there are babies also. LKG, UKG, kindergarten. They are not able to understand all this kind of, self and consciousness, and it's not possible because their minds are very gross. So what kind of God alone they will appreciate? A powerful God, a rich God, a beautiful God, because this is what their understanding is. If there is a God, he has to have a body. Just like I am having a body, God also should have a body. Hmm. Any God must be all powerful, and an all powerful God should be all rich also. So therefore, he should have gold everywhere. He should have lot of servants. And all powerful God should not be a sick person, helpless person, miserable person. No. His world should be a beautiful world. You see, these are all the ways in which a common man will think. So for a layman also there should be something. So Vedavyasa Rishi, he wrote such beautiful stories such a way that everyone has something for meditation. For small children, etc., if you start saying consciousness is ultimate, small children will not understand anything. So for small children, you should have a beautiful story. So there is a beautiful Bhagavan, all powerful Bhagavan, and Lakshmi is seated, massaging his feet. Then only, a common man will able to be understand. So that is the greatness of Vyasa Rishi. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe. Vishala Buddhi. Vishala Buddhi means what? Taking care of everyone. Tamasic, Rajasic, Sattvic. Hmm. LKG person should also be included. PhD student also should be included. So you will find in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, such stories are there, and suddenly the high philosophy of Vedanta comes in between, saying that this Vishnu is the self in all of us. Suddenly. So we may wonder what has happened to Vedavyasa Rishi. Has he mood swings or what? No, 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 no. He is taking care of everyone. So you will find that the wisest man, the most mature, the highly evolved people are also hooked on to Bhagavatam. The lay person is also hooked on to Bhagavatam through the stories. So this is the idea. So, but those people who are able to understand the higher should go to the higher, because only that will give you real satisfaction. Only the higher knowledge can put an end to all confusions. Because if you start believing that there is a world called Vaikuntha and a Vimana will come and Parshada will come, etc., you can ask hundreds of questions and which you will can never find an answer. Vaikuntha, how far is it? Can space travel through rockets, etc.? Can we reach there? So many questions can come. Because if it is a world somewhere outside, then traveling must be possible. Then the scientists must be able to reach that. Because all kinds of devices we are inventing for space travel, whatever be the distance. So there are a lot of questions which you can never find an answer if you start believing in these stories. So the moment you start asking questions, understand that stories are not for you. Stories are for those who can't have questions. The moment you start questioning, you have transcended the realm of stories. Understand this. Those who cannot ask questions, stories are for them. A growing intellect will have questions. A subtle intellect will have questions. A sharper intellect will have questions. So then, for such people, the higher philosophies we have to resort to. So this is the ultimate philosophy of Upanishad. What is Vishnoho Paramam Padam? This is the one. The inner self, the supreme self. Purusha param kinchit sa kashtha sa paragati. So let us again travel inward. So compared to the sense objects, sense organs are higher. Compared to the sense organs, the impression in the mind is higher. Compared to these impressions, the likes and dislikes of the mind, that is higher. Compared to the mind, intellect is higher. Compared to the intellect, total intellect, or Hiranyagarbha is higher. Compared to the Hiranyagarbha, Avyakta is higher. And compared to Avyakta, the highest is the Supreme Self, which is the support of everything. And there is nothing higher than Supreme Self. Therefore, our job is only one, to know the Supreme Self. That is it. That is our highest responsibility. Now, corollary. What is a corollary? The more and more you go within, the stronger and stronger you become. The more and more you go outside, weaker and weaker you become. Okay? So, getting addicted to mobile phones, is it going to make you strong or weak? You are going out. Remember, you are going away from yourself. You are going away from Purusha. World itself is inferior. Remember, if mobile phones were to be there, where will that mobile phone have the place in this ladder? Sense object is the inferior most. Even inferior to that sense object will be this, because it is creating another world in the world. World is the inferior most. So what are we doing when we are entering into this mobile world? We are entering into another world which is away from us. So therefore, that mobile world has to be more inferior to this physical world. This physical world itself is the inferior most. Just imagine. That is why you will find more and more psychological problems we are facing in this world. Why? Because we are going away from ourselves. Nowadays, children are addicted to this mobile phone. They sleep at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. So addicted to all these kind of social media. So what is happening to us? We are becoming weaker. We are becoming a slave. The master is becoming a slave. Remember, our true nature is Purusha, Supreme Self. As I start becoming an addict, a slave to my sense organs, I am going away. Away means weaker and weaker. You see the importance of studying the scriptures. So what should I do? I should go inward. Meditation is the way through which I go inward. When I go inward, what happens? Slowly I become the master of my life, master of my sense organs, master of my mind and intellect. And then there is more and more fulfillment. Remember, the nature of Purusha is Ananda. So when you are going away from Purusha, you are going away from Ananda. You are going away from happiness, peace, strength, everything. You are going away from everything which is auspicious. You are going towards inauspiciousness. You are going towards darkness of ignorance. Right. See how practical it is. We come to know where we are falling. So let us wind up here. Now the question is how to go to that Supreme Self, reach that Supreme Self. What are we supposed to do in order to take our journey inward successfully? This is the topic which we will see in the next class. Now we can have some questions.
Thank you, Swamiji. It was not only insightful, but lot of food for thought. How are we living our lives? How should we live our lives? And this whole mobile example that you have given, and the whole subtle to gross, the movement that we are doing towards the gross world, I think it's so beautiful. I was just thinking, Swamiji, how do you translate this for children? Like whatever you've explained to us, if we have to explain to, let's say, children who are 13, 14, 15, how can we make it simpler for them with simpler examples? Swamiji, do mail me, or if you want to share your insights now, because I'm really interested in taking this to a school where I work. How can I have a self-study program or something like that. I think the mission does have something for children. If you can just tell us more about how we can translate this. I'm sure there are a lot of parents here also.
Practically, we have to demonstrate the children how much we are affected by such addictions. So what can be done? For example, allow the child to say watch TV or whatever for say 1 hour. Allow the child. After that 1 hour of watching its favorite channel or whatever, ask the child to sit for 10 minutes with closed eyes. Ask the child to sit for 10 minutes. And then the child has to answer in those 10 minutes what has happened in the mind. And ask the child not to think of anything in those 10 minutes. Consciously not to think of anything. But you will find that after 1 hour of exposure to social media, the mind will start throwing various images and you can't stop it. So there, the child comes to know that he has become a slave. His own mind is not under his control. All the images are seen and I am not able to come out of those flashes of images. I am trying not to think anything, but the mind is helplessly thinking so many things. So after that, you tell the child, see, this watching movie, has it made you a master or a slave of your mind? You clearly see your helplessness. So just imagine 1 hour of such watching has created such an impression. Just imagine throughout your life, if you're doing it, how much can it damage? We are not talking about the physical damage. The eyes are affected, mind is affected, so many other things. We are just talking of, So this is called as demonstrating to them the evil effects. They have to know by themselves. Others telling will not do. When parents say, no, it is not good. Arey, why it is not good? Let the child go through that misery for some time. Everything should be, demonstrated to them.
I think that's perfect, Swamiji. I will definitely do it and I will get back to you as to what is the response of the students and what have they understood. And I think if we do this repeatedly, 1 or 2 times, they will get the idea as to why we are telling them. I think it's a very good, we can create a module for our children. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so much. Any questions? Yes.
Another thing also you can do, if suppose they are in a hostel or something like that, in the night, call all of them. Let's have a group meditation and mentally tell them to chant some name of God. Or if they say, I don't believe in God, fine. You just count numbers. Mentally create an image. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just focus mentally. So in the mind, let them write the numbers. Say for half an hour if you do. So what is happening is mind has become concentrated. Mind has withdrawn from everything and now the mind is concentrating. And then ask them to go to sleep without talking. Then when they get up, the first 5-10 minutes, what is happening to the mind? What is the state of the mind? Is it peaceful or disturbed? Let them write it down. So they clearly see this. When I am watching movie, the mind is getting disturbed, distracted. But when I am doing japa, the mind is getting focused. So there is a huge difference between the quality of the mind. When they directly experience this, then they understand the value of it.
Excellent, Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you. Urvi, beta, आपको पूछना है कुछ?
Yes. So thank you, Ma. That was the first question that, and one observation in the same thing, Ma, and Swamiji, that like I have my daughter and she is 15. So, they are in this world where, it's so much of an, it's more like a unconscious peer pressure for them. So if they are not a part of it, they start feeling as if they're excluded. So to not feel that, they start doing it.
Correct.
Now, as a parent, even if, we try to help them experience, it is more like a force for them. Like, you don't understand me, it's how they feel. But when somebody from the school, suppose, or their doctor, if they say, it makes a difference. So as a parent, we have a limitation. Like, we have to, even though we are, into healing or in spiritualism, but we have to bank for this on someone else, for their role models, is
True.
what I have been experiencing. So, but yeah, thank you for that question, Ma. So, Swamiji, I had these questions about this the metaphor of chariot. So, in that metaphor, now when we are meditating and when we reach that space of higher space or higher faculty within, where we transcend the mind and we experience the pure bliss and pure joy. What in this chariot represents that?
Destination.
Okay. Okay, so that is the param. Okay. All right. And what does Jivatma, what is the Jivatma? Like, the one who is riding is the Jivatma, the one who is the Rathi. No,
Traveler.
traveler. So for us, who is the traveler? Our ego.
You are the traveler. Who else?
So we have mind, who is the rail. We have sense organs, which are the horses. So like that, when we are dividing in this chariot, in that, what is the Jivatma? Is my question.
Oh, yes, the one who is asking this question.
That's awareness.
No,
That's
the ego, of course, the Jivatma, the ego.
ego, right? Okay. And a question further to this is, like, when we say that intellect is the one who discriminates what is right and what is wrong. Now here there are two questions, Swamiji. One is that there are so many religions, and in different religions, their rights and wrongs are different. And that is probably the cause of many times fights and issues, right? Now, on that context, how do we really know what is right and wrong if we are not on the spiritual path? Because if a strong religious person will have a strong rights and wrongs, which may not be rights and wrongs, then who will decide that? Then is that the Sakti? That
No,
is first.
see, rights and wrong in all religions are same only. It is not different. For example, I should be truthful. Every religion asks you to be truthful. I should be humble. All religion asks you to be humble only. I should not give pain to others. You see, all the values of life, virtues of life, it is same in all religion, isn't it? So therefore, basically, all religion are same only. Superficially, it may appear to be having conflicting views, but go deep and you will find that everything is one. For example, a person can criticize Bhagavad Gita saying that it's a book of violence because Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight. Krishna is not asking Arjuna to fight. Krishna is asking Arjuna to perform his duties. And Arjuna happens to be a soldier. Soldier's job is to fight. Therefore, Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight. So, the more and more you go deeper, you find that all religions are one and the same because they have all come from God only. God Himself has been the inspiring force behind all scriptures, behind all prophets. So, go to the purest source. Many times what happens is we listen to some interpreter of that scripture, and if the interpreter himself is immature, he will interpret in the wrong way. And such a wrong interpretation will confuse the masses, and the confused masses will create problem in the society. So it is very important that the person who is interpreting the scriptures is wise. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing, they say. A half physician will kill the patient.
So to the mind who asked this question, probably we have to go a little bit deeper to explain that. We have to go to the essence of anything, any scriptures,
Yes.
not just
Any
one.
scripture. Yes. All scriptures are equally divine.
Yes. And so coming to in the same question, now when somebody, I think that answers. All right, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Urvi. I love you, my dear. You are so involved. I think that's so important, to be so involved in what Swamiji is telling, that your mind starts giving these questions. Continue asking. Okay, Urvi?
Yes, thank you.
Rahul, go ahead, Bacha.
Hariom Swamiji, I just wanted to ask that, so as one goes deeper into the spirituality of any religion, so one should actually start feeling like they're all one. That's what is that what is being said? That they
You switch on your video if you are in a presentable form.
Oh, okay. So I just switched it off because sometimes my father, he takes his walks at the back. So, so as you go deeper, all the religions will appear to be one then.
Yes.
In anything, in
Yes.
either religion you take.
Yes.
And obviously, I think, Swamiji, for that, every scripture needs to be studied.
Yes.
Because
No, if you study one scripture, you can easily understand the
other.
message of other scriptures.
Right. Okay, anyone else?
Yes, Dr. Jain, Pankaj here.
Yes, Pankajji, please go ahead.
Swamiji, you said that scriptures tell you the truth. We must deeply study the scriptures. For the Hindu philosophy, we know कि Ved hai, Puran hai. What about the equivalent side in Christianity or the Muslim religion, or for that matter, any other? What is the equivalent over there?
See, those religions have come recently. And you will always find that according to the change of the world, according to the maturity of the people, just like, for example, allopathy has come recently. Allopathy was not there.
Yes.
Years, census very much. You'll find that in Ayurveda, etc., a lot of discipline is necessary. You should not eat that. You should not eat this. You should fast. That discipline is literally not possible in Kali Yuga. So by Bhagavan's grace, allopathy has come. What is allopathy? Eat whatever you want and have one tablet. That is allopathy. Absolutely no discipline is necessary. Because the people in Kali Yuga cannot take that harshness of austerity. So therefore, by Bhagavan's grace, allopathy, Bhagavan has blessed us with allopathy. Allopathy is a blessing. Because not everyone can must and all that. In the same way, in the modern times, deep thinking, etc., is very difficult. So therefore, these religions have come. And in this religion, you will find that the main emphasis is devotion unto God and surrender. Devotion unto God. If you see this 10 commandments of Christianity, etc., it is such a simple thing. Don't go after somebody's wife. Remain with your wife only. Don't go after somebody's wealth. Simple instructions are given, which is very practical, which can harm in society. So deep philosophies are not there. They have not ventured into, life after death and all that. No. So they just stick to simple things because majority of the people are not able to practice complicated things. So it is a great blessing for the modern that such simple religions have come, which is, helping us to have a what you call peace and harmony in the whole world. So this is the way we have to understand. So therefore, too much of philosophy is not discussed in either Christianity or Islam. Basic message of both these religion is develop devotion to God, surrender unto God, be a good human being. This is the basic message.
But then, Swamiji, we have seen that in the last maybe 2000 years or 2,500 years, um, Sanatan Dharma or the Hinduism way of life, it has gradually gone diminished, and we see the wrong side or the wrong interpreted side of the other religions trying to dominate something that is all pervasive, all good, all well. So how do we explain? I mean, how do we help other people understand that this is an aspect to be understood and practiced as well?
See, wrong interpretation has happened in every religion. For example, in Hindu religion also wrong interpretation has happened. Otherwise, how did this untouchability, concept of untouchability come? See, very many times we find defects with other religion, but have we ever tried to find out defects in our religion? There was a time when Brahmanas considered themselves to be superior. They felt that, they only can enter into temple. Other low caste people should be outside. Remember, all these problems came from Hinduism only. And then what happened? Untouchability. All the great saints, if you see, Sant Jnaneshwar, Tukaram Maharaj, and so many, everywhere you will find how much these Brahmanas used to torture and exploit the poor people. In fact, one of the reasons why very many conversions happened in India is only because of imperfection of our own religion. If we had propagated that oneness, love, etc., who will get converted? Nobody. So, if conversion has happened in our society, we alone are responsible for it. We have not given importance to our scriptures. We means what? Brahmanas. They are the people who are supposed to study the scriptures and give the message of the scriptures to the society. They are the ones. They did not do that. And they considered themselves to be superior. And they started enjoying all the benefits. And they started oppressing the poor people. And there was a divide. Remember, that is the time when the society became weak. That is the time when Britishers invaded India. That is the time when Mughals invaded India because the whole society was weak. They were fighting amongst themselves. So who has to be blamed for all the problems? Don't blame anyone else. Let us blame ourselves. So this understanding always has to be there. Spirituality, religion, when truly understood, it has only blessed the world. It is always a misinterpretation, wrong interpretation, which is creating problem everywhere. Not only in our religion, in other religion also. Today we have this Islamophobia. The problem is not with Islam. The problem is with the wrong interpretation of Islam. For example, jihad. Jihad means fight. With whom should you fight? If you see the Islamic scholars, they very clearly say the fight is with our kama, krodha, lobha, moha. This is a real fight. It is an inner battle. It is not fight with people with other religion. With the no. So if you really hear the wise people in other religion, you will clearly understand that all religion are talking about the same thing. But then when misinterpretation happen, then the masses are carried away by this wrong interpretation, and then there is problem in the society. So such problems have happened in every religion. This has to be understood.
So, Swamiji, correlating the example of the mobile phone with the child, that he is gradually falling into the darkness by using more and more of social media. And kids don't listen. That is there with my child, with a lot of other people will correlate to what I'm saying. So, what is the way where we see the society gradually degrading into a hellish state. There is some hope by people who try to do good, but with the generations not trying to understand what is the mechanism, what is the way. I mean, we can attend your lectures, but the children who are not attending such classes, such lectures, how do we have the hope, or what is the mechanism to take the world to a higher good, which will make it a good place to stay? How will it happen?
See, let us be very clear. My job is not to improve the world. My job is to improve myself. So ask this question: am I free from this social media addiction? Our answer will be no. I myself am addicted. How can I expect my child to listen to me?
Oh, shucks.
So, first step is let me put it into practice. Let me start. You will always find that the moment you start putting into practice, you become stronger and stronger. This is what you have studied. Because when you start putting into practice, you are going nearer and nearer to your Supreme Self. Going nearer to Supreme Self means what? You are going near God. Going near God means what? You are becoming equally powerful. Such a person who is so powerful because of his discipline, his obedience, his virtues. Such a person, when the child is in the company of such a person, the child has no choice but to evolve. Because the child compares, look at me and look at this person. What a huge difference. I'm so miserable and he's so happy. He's so peaceful. He's so contented. He's so strong. He's so focused, so concentrated. So what happens is when I change, people around me start changing. And they become the messengers, you know. So therefore, let me not worry about the world. Let me not worry about the society. Let me start from myself. This is spirituality.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. It's a wonderful understanding. I must free myself first.
कहते हैं ना कि the company that you have builds your character. So I think as parents, as adults, the kind of company that we are giving others, किस तरह की company हम दूसरों को दे रहे हैं, है ना स्वामी जी? अगर हम भी
Yes.
बैठ के लोगों के साथ बैठ के गॉसिप कर रहे हैं, तो बच्चे भी वही हमें देख के गॉसिप कर रहे हैं ना? So
Correct.
what is the company we give our children? What are we doing when we are with our children? Are we complaining? Are we instructing them all the time? Are we, trying to be their friend when we are not? We are their parent. So I think a lot of it depends on how we are behaving. And I think Swamiji has really said beautifully that agar hum as adults, sham ko baith ke, we sit and we discuss or we read something or we meditate or we attend such classes, हमारे बच्चे देखते हैं हमको ना करते हुए, तो कुछ तो असर होगा उन पे, शायद किसी के ऊपर ज्यादा किसी के ऊपर कम. But I think children will at least start reading, or what I used to do is if I saw an interesting article in the newspaper, मैं अपनी बेटी के सॉफ्ट बोर्ड पे वो आर्टिकल कट के रख देती थी. I would never tell her because instructional parents don't work, So I would just stick it on the soft board and then she would say, Mama, what have you stuck? I said, well, dekh lo. And then she would read and she developed a habit of reading. So to develop these habits of reading, of writing, हमें कुछ करना पड़ेगा ना, तब तो बच्चे देखेंगे. I would write something and then like a thought for the day. So पहले जब वो छोटी थी तो I would write a thought for the day on her soft board. And then she got into a habit and then she started writing a thought for the day on herself, on her soft board. So we have to set an example. I think Swamiji वही कह रहे हैं हमको. Right?
Excellent, sir. I think this is one of the most important learnings I realized in the recent past.
Yeah.
The entire lecture आज पूरा हो गया, समझ में आ गया.
आर्टिकल्स इतने ब्यूटीफुल है. न्यूज अभी तो न्यूज़पेपर आधे लोग तो लेते नहीं है न्यूज़पेपर, बट माय फादर यूज्ड टू कट आर्टिकल्स एंड ही वुड हैव अ फाइल ऑफ आर्टिकल्स ओनली, दैट यूज्ड टू बी ऑन द टेबल, ऑन आवर इन द लिविंग रूम टेबल. वो फाइल रहती थी और हम जब बैठे रहते थे तो तब तो टेलीविजन था नहीं, या बाद में टीवी इतना कुछ था नहीं, तो हम वो पढ़ते रहते थे. So that has to continue. जैसे मेरे पापा ने मेरे लिए किया, I should do it for my children. So I think what our parents did for us was wonderful. We should continue that doing for our children. But our parents today don't want to do what their parents did. That's the problem. It's not about the children, Pankaj ji. Parents भी नहीं कर रहे हैं वो कहते हैं क्या, what nonsense is this? So
Okay,
that is why a lot of parents are attending these classes because they need help how to manage their children. But I think हमारे पेरेंट्स ने जो हमारे लिए किया था, अगर हम अपने बच्चों के लिए करें, मुझे लगता है it's very easy to manage.
I think it is not just the discipline, it is consistent discipline in the parents themselves.
Absolutely. जो चीज काम
Valuable
करती
lesson.
है वो हमें ज्यादा करना चाहिए. प्रॉब्लम ये कि जो चीज काम करती है उसको हम करते नहीं, हम कुछ और ही करते हैं. I think that's what's happening.
Swamiji.
Thank you.
Charan Swamiji.
And
Yes, anyone else?
so
your question पूछना चाहते हैं? We are anyway over time, but we have 5 minutes more. Swamiji can give us. Yes, Swamiji, 5 minutes और. चलिए. Anyone else?
Urvi amma.
Urvi, go ahead.
So to continue with what you just said and what we are discussing about the children, what I am experiencing, witnessing, because my daughter is in her teens, when we start feeling anxiety or fear, we stop getting into the position of empathy. For it's bigger challenge for them where they are, and for them they require our support is what I'm seeing. So instead of really starting to feel anxious, if I just what is working for me is that just to stay in that empathy space for her, that oh, I understand what is happening in your world, and so and just do what I am doing and just let her see me and what is bringing me joy. So she has two worlds to compare. Okay, one is where she is going out, and one is this, which is also possible. And as you are saying, Ma, that what worked for you, what was coming from your parent, and that worked for you. So probably tomorrow when she becomes an adult, she has some examples, and this will work. So right now, a lot of things are happening in her own inner world. So we have to just let that be, and from that churning only, they will understand what is right, what is not, is what is working for me in my understanding.
I think स्वामी जी ने बहुत सुंदर तरीके से हमें समझाया है कि there are certain things that never change. Those facts, the truthful facts of life. That's what we have to continue doing. That's all. Yes, any other question? कोई और पूछना चाहता है कुछ भी? No? Okay, I think there's a lot of thinking that needs to be done after this class today.
थैंक यू बोलना चाहते हैं स्वामी जी. कोई भी क्वेश्चन कहीं से भी आ जाए, आप इतने प्यार से समझा देते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच. हरिओम.
Swami ji, the last shloka, and then we'll end.
Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.